Alright, ladies and gents, here we are today in the lovely town, city. I don't really know the terminology for the Mdina, Rabat, Malta, but here we are today, surrounded by a beautiful architecture. And while my friends are inside this dude's house, which is Casa Gurgion, I suppose, a nobleman home. While they're in there, looking around for furniture and whatnots, I will take you on a little trip through these streets, talking about the beautiful topic of how to learn a language in terms of the two main debatable topics of language learning and language acquisition. I will also need to find some places that is not very loud, but that's on me. How have you been? Long time no vlog. Last time it was raining as crazy and snowing as crazy. Yeah, actually last two vlogs were very different. Crazy temperatures, crazy atmosphere, and here we are. So might be aware of language learning at this process of going through the academic style, learning, you know, with a professor, with a curriculum, all of those, which can be daunting, can be a tricky thing to do, and it involves many things, like, as I said, a curriculum focusing very seriously on these skills that they tell you in school, like writing and listening and reading and speaking and whatnot. Grammar also, and vocabulary, very important. And then you have on the other side the language acquisition, a very interesting theory. Basically what it says is that given a nice, comfortable, emotional, calm environment where you're safe and you feel safe, you may learn the language easier, and with it you will need to speak and listen quite a lot, in the same way that a child does that when they are very young. That's a process that indeed kids can do, and we'll get more into this in a second. But the more you age, the more you grow up, the more you're an adult and you have other things to do, I suppose that becomes a bit more tricky. Given that you have this environment that I was saying a second ago, you may start practicing a language just through learning, hearing, repeating, speaking, listening, and that's it. But you do it in a way that you just repeat and use visual clues. Like, for example, if I would say perete, and this is a perete, or I don't even know how to call those in Romanian, but let's say fereastră, then you would probably know straight away what I'm talking about, because you see it, it's right there in front of you. So if I would do that, or I don't know, here, material, lemn, right? This is wood. Very basic examples. But for example, I teach you Romanian like that. How would that be? You know, you can just be like, oh, this is this, this is that, and you'll remember. You have visual cues, you have the pronunciation, you have the listening practice. You can repeat right now, say those things. I don't know, for example, stag, yeah, it's a flag, and so on. This is on the very basic levels, I suppose, of language acquisitions, and then, you know, start using verbs and all the technical things and whatnot, and develop more and more vocabulary, but without thinking that's vocabulary. Just do it, you know. It's something like You practice that just by doing it, by listening to it, and by taking it all in from whoever is your, let's say, language partner. Interesting. I might have done the whole circle already around the Mdina. Very interesting place though, as you can see. I'll show you more of those as we go. Beautiful place. But yeah, it's a Mdina, right? Arab, Islamic. And then it's full of churches and stuff. Malta is such a crazy place, honestly. Anyways, as I was saying, so you learn those things, and again, you don't, like, it's so hard for me to say something else than learn, because you don't learn them, you acquire them, right, according to the theory, and then you just speak it. So this is a bit of an example of how that would work. Obviously you can do that in many ways, shapes and forms, especially if you have possibly a language buddy that is native and helps you with that. And the other one, coming very shortly back to the other one, the language learning, I mean, I don't think it's needed to talk too much about that, but it's the academic way. It's how you learn it in school, and it's very different. Because it's very structured. You follow a curriculum, and there's like formal tests, and you learn grammar to see, for example, why there's an S at the end of a word, right here, and so on and so forth. So that's the big picture, that's perspective, that's the two sides of the story. Now what I want to do is talk a little bit about what I think, right, and what I'm trying to do with the Romanian Academy, with the way I teach, and so on and so forth. There are obviously pluses and minuses. Those two kids have the exact same jumper that I do, funnily enough, and that's a beautiful, beautiful balcony. Crazy. Right. So there are pluses and minuses for sure to both approaches. And with the language acquisition, I have to say, I was very biased first time I heard about it. I was like, are you mad, bro? What the hell are you talking about? How can you just listen to a language and be a kid and whatnot? Oh, that looks good. How can you do that? Is that even doable? Do you have people that have done that are older than 8? Because that's also very important. When you're a kid, you can easily do that. Nice, right? Very nice. So when you're a kid, you can't do those kind of things. But when you're growing up and you're an adult, how are you gonna do that? You need to spend a lot of time. You need to spend a lot of time, and it needs to be effort, like consistent effort, to remember these words, because you might learn a language that has absolutely no connection to your native one. So that's tough. That's tough. Even if you're not doing language acquisition, but you're doing the language learning. But at least if you're doing the language learning, someone can explain you why you add the thing at the end of a word, like you do in Romanian. Like with, for some reason I have the word ardei in my head, and you do ardeiul. I didn't eat any pepper recently, but anyways. So why do you do that, you know? And what's the difference between ardei and ardeiul? And so on. So you can do that with an academic style, with a more formal style. But how are you going to explain the difference? I mean, I guess it also depends on how your brain works, and I think that is also very important. Your personality, the way you prefer to learn, that also plays a role, 100%. That's another factor in this whole big mix. I suppose the personality, can draw you to one or another, one side of the spectrum or another, in terms of acquisition versus learning. The age you do it also plays a role, as many kids obviously would prefer and would not be really, like when you're a kid you don't really have the mental faculty to be explained those hard grammatical terms. So it's definitely preferable to do learning through acquisition when you're a kid, 100%. But the more you grow up, you probably want to mix the two. And if you have very limited time, then you probably want to focus on language learning. So we talked about horses. Here we go. No, we didn't talk about horses, but we talked about a few advantages and disadvantages. So like age is definitely something that you should consider when you're learning a language. Time, how much time you have and how limited or strict you are with time, because that is crucial. And you know, if you have the opportunity to do it in an academic way or with a language tutor, although language tutors nowadays, they do focus a lot on grammar. No. If you know me from the classes or from the courses we did online, you know that I do try to mix the two. And it's not easy, I have to say, because the way I learned languages was also both. And you cannot really teach language acquisition, you just have to do it. You have to open your brain and try to, you know, use your senses, your pattern recognition skills, your critical thinking. And language acquisition it can be very easy, I think, after you grasped a couple of languages already. But you would prefer language learning when you have a goal in mind, when you're more strict with time, because language acquisition, just, you know, learning vocabulary through showing and pointing out things and giving, I don't know, lists of words and trying to hear videos and listening skills, like practicing your listening skills with podcasts and all of those things, can be tough. Another thing that you should really bear in mind, and I've completely forgot about it, is to go in the country you try to learn that language of, because language acquisition works so well when you live in that country. When you don't, you would probably want to try language learning, find a course. But when you are surrounded by, say for example, Maltese people that speak Maltese, and they have this weird language which is a mixture of so many things, well, how are you going to learn that language when you're abroad? Huh? Or Romanian works in a very similar way, unless you're probably in Italy or Spain and you're going to meet a lot of them, us anyways, or Germany or the UK. But you need to go and live there, at least for a while. It can be like a challenge if you don't plan to live forever in Romania. It can be like a challenge if you're just excited about the language. And if you actually need to learn the language for a very specific reason, well, then maybe you should pack your bags and stay in Romania for a while. You really should. It will help a lot. So location is also important to choose between the two. was interrupted by this thought of the place, the location. In my opinion, a mixture of the two, given, like, if you don't have a certain deadline, that's easy to implement. If you have a strict deadline, you can have a you should know or meet someone or ask someone who has done it for a long time to help you build your kind of curriculum, one that's accustomed to your needs and goals. And I hope I'm not gonna get killed. The guy didn't even say thank you, but anyways, so yeah, you should ask someone who knows what they're doing and has experience with this to help you build your own curriculum depending on your needs and whatever resources you might want to buy, to get, to check out. Some people don't like to watch movies with Romanian subtitles, some others do. I think I'm spinning in a circle. I might soon just sit down and finish this story because I feel like, I don't know, it looked like bigger on the map, this place, but I feel like I've been spinning around and I've done this like 3 times already. Probably these people know me already by heart. So yeah. You want someone to help you with that because if you have a strict deadline, say you need to learn Romanian for a language test, for acquiring or getting whatever the citizenship by September, that's definitely something that you on your own probably wouldn't be able to do in the same way that a teacher or a tutor or whatever can help you with. If you're interested in knowing more about it, subscribe to the channel, like this video, go on Patreon to find out more about the way we do it, because we do have our own materials and it's quite cool and it's very diverse. And if you are a învățător or philanthrope, you can get many benefits from myself. If you are a philanthrope, actually you can get coaching through text to guide you in your journey, in direction you want, to get more help with finding that direction and the journey you want. Because, I mean, why are you here at the end of the day? I want to know in the comments, like, why do you learn Romanian? What's the bigger story behind it? Because, okay, I asked a couple of times on the polls and on the live streams, why do you learn Romanian? And they were very, very narrow, very, very short answers, right? But I'm sure your story is way more interesting, more important for me at least, and for the other people is in this community, is to know how we can help you, because it's a different story for everybody. It's a very, very different story for everybody, and you may be able to figure it out yourself, but I'm curious to know more. Like, what's your opinion about language learning versus language acquisition? Are you a fan of either? Do you just freestyle however you want with learning Romanian? Because I know for a fact that there's many people on this YouTube channel that just do it as a passion, and there are others who need to learn Romanian. So it would be good to have an idea of that and share it with us. Maybe we can help a bit. And obviously, if you're interested for more, join Patreon for getting proper advice and more content on Romanian. To summarize everything from what I've said, And to give you my honest opinion about the language learning versus language acquisition, I started to grow a bit more into the language acquisition than I used to be before. I have grown up in a very strict way of learning something. There are my friends right there. Say hello. That's quite funny. So, in my opinion, you would like a mix of both. You would like a mix of both worlds. It's really, really, in my opinion, that's the best way to learn it. You will learn quicker if you commit to language acquisition, but without any kind of grammatical vocabulary help, there's no way to do it. I don't think, you know, language learning is a social, inexact science, like maths. And I said that a few times already. There's no right or wrong, and it depends, as I said, depending a lot on your needs and reasons you learn language, the place you are, the personality you have, and all of those. So there's no right or wrong. You may find that the right way for you is just spending 2 hours every day, if you have them, with your partner or Romanian friend, just walking around town and learning things in Romanian, or just sitting at a coffee place and chatting. Or you might find that you need to be in a very structured group on a course for 2 weeks, and you will get already to A1, a few hours every day. One thing that I am actually planning to do, and if you're watching this, please go on the RomanianAcademy.com and fill in the group classes form, because I am going to start groups of like courses based on groups, 4 to 6 people, A1, A2 and B1, in the next couple of months. So please go ahead and let me know if you're interested, and whenever we get to the max, to the 4 or 6, I am still not decided, people, we will get a starting date and we'll let you know. It will be probably something like 6 weeks, 1 hour and a half every 2 days, so like 3 days a week, 1 hour and a half for 6 weeks, and that will be A1. That will be A2. That will be, oh, they're even up, more up. That's a nice place. So yeah, you can get A1, A2 and B1 with the Romanian Academy starting soon. Go on the RomanianAcademy.com to fill that in, and yeah, don't worry about what the future holds, because you will learn Romanian no matter what. You just have to find your own way, and that will come. And yes, it's not as simple, but you have all the tools you need, and we are here to help you. If that is not yet clear, I think 50-50, no, yeah, I think 50-50 would be a right split between language learning and language acquisition, to be honest. Yeah, I think so. If you're interested in knowing more, I'll put some links in the description, as all the others are, and for Patreon, for Discord, for the RomanianAcademy.com, for our group classes that are gonna start soon, and from the lovely Maltese Mdina, and from this beautiful building that's once again of a very wealthy man, noble man, whatever, can scan the code for tickets, prices and whatnot. From here I will say la rivedere. See you in the next one.